Internet! Hello, you absolute lovelies. I am just walking out of Jurassic World Rebirth, and this is going to be a full non-spoiler review for quite the experience. I love Jurassic Park. I love The Lost World. I like Jurassic Park 3, and Jurassic World 1, 2, and 3 are movies that came out. This, I think, is the best Jurassic World movie, which puts it to me right on par with, I'd say, Jurassic Park 3. This was a really good time. It was a really fun time. It is an absolute spectacle and experience, a riveting, thrilling, oh my god, white knuckle time. And I'm going to dive on to that, but first, press the YouTube buttons, leave a like, leave a comment. Let's discuss the movie as it's coming out. This is out tomorrow everywhere, so you can see it for yourself very soon. I want to have a discussion in the comments below about your experience, and also, if you're watching this, subscribe. It's for fun. Join me on this journey. So this right here, Jurassic World Rebirth, is, I think, the most close to the experience of what it is to read the book, what it is to enjoy the films at their core, but it is with today's technology, and it's also like got the sequel thing where we've now experienced a ton of these. So I think the pros and cons of doing a seventh film are you need escalation, you need to have things that, you know, ratchet things up, but it does a really good job finding the integrity of some of the things that made the first three so special. The reason I think it's the closest to Jurassic Park 3 is it kind of has that thing where it feels like a amusement park ride, and that, I think, is the strength of 3 as well as the strength of this one. The entire time you are captivated, you are riveted, you are literally on an amusement park ride with those set pieces, but that's also some of the weaknesses. Sometimes the set pieces, much like with Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, feel like they're a contained set piece that sets up the next one. So in the same strength, there's also the weakness of each individual moment feels like it's setting up a set piece. So the stakes are kind of tricky because you know you're building in and out of that window. But it also has a lot of elements of the first film, I think the best of them. I think Jurassic Park 1 is one of the rare 5-star films of all time. I've rated 4,000 movies. I've given 25 of them 5 stars. Jurassic Park is one of them. And I think this does share some of the elements of really stressing the human experience. I do think a lot of the relationships work. I think more relationships work than don't. There's a lot of humanity here. There's a lot of like earnest, actual, credible relationships. Now, I do think this film, much like, you know, evolving a sequel to a 7th time, does suffer from trying to force a couple of those. I think there are a couple relationships that feel like they got punched up later on. I do think there's a few relationships that are like, we need this to feel like this, and they added a little to them that didn't always work, but more worked than didn't with the relationships, and that feels the most authentic of the Jurassic World. I think the thing that doesn't work for me with Jurassic World 1, 2, and 3 is the relationships, the human element. I think Chris Pratt by himself is great. I think bringing back the originals is great because we have that nostalgia and that reverence for them, but the actual relationships didn't work. More than half of the beats and relationship and those elements absolutely do work here, and then if you add to that the incredible thrill park ride of the experience of having the, you know, Jurassic Park 3 push, that really sings here. You add to that the actual special effects and all those things. Now, I say no spoilers because this is a movie that can be spoiled. If you know the Jurassic Park lore, if you know the world of Jurassic Park and what they've teased for a number of movies, that is a thing that I think is you know, utilized here. So try to avoid like third act spoilers because there is a bit of a mislead that does get paid off, and I do think that's like a really fun thing if you've been following this franchise since the 90s. But most of all, this is something that is the action adventure heart of like your Indiana Jones, your 80s and 90s summer blockbuster, something that does give you that that I want to see it in the theater over and over again with your friends kind of movie, and that's what I think they set out to make. I think Gareth Evans, of any of the directors, really loved the first film for the heart and integrity of it being a summer blockbuster. I think this is the most summer blockbuster of them since, I would even say, Lost World, maybe even more than Jurassic Park 3, because it does ride that fine line of balance. I think Scarlett Johansson is an incredible first lead. I think she's a really strong lead. She is in a few scenes that the emotional through line I was talking about where I was like, this feels a little like it was manipulated or attempted to be. I think Mahershala Ali, this shows how much we've missed out on having him in cinema because we haven't really had dude since Green Book, and he got Oscars and then disappeared to not make Blade. This shows you why Blade should exist. This shows you why that dude is absolutely a star. I think one of the things that surprised me most is Jonathan Bailey in Wicked is charm incarnate, and he's actually able to seem nerdy here. He's able to play up some of the nerdiness. The dialogue dialogue, the exposition, a lot of the really heavy stuff that's hard to do, he nails that stuff. I would not have clocked that he was the same dude from Wicked, so that is really impressive. You know, smarmy rich guy is smarmy rich guy. The kids are adorable. The new dinosaur they bring in that plays the adorable element is awesome. I don't want to give anything away about Dolores, but Dolores is awesome. And you've got some dinosaurs that augment and supplement for certain standard issue dinosaurs that we know and love. Like I said, it has to evolve. It is a sequel. It is carrying things on. So you're going to see dinosaur that fill in certain modes and notes and things that get a different job here. So I think it is really wonderful that you get to have basically an evolution of even what the dinosaurs are serving the purpose of. And the actual structure of the film is really cool because you've got 3 different kind of settings they use really well with the different dinosaurs. And you get to feel like a kid that loves either water-based or land-based or air-based, and they really let you play with that as a fan of dinosaurs, but use it as a plot point. And I don't want to tell you how that works, but I do want to say that works really well if you're a fan of like adventure things, if you're a fan of theme parks, if you're a fan of dinosaurs. So I think I want the folks that don't know too much about the movie to get to play and get to explore and get to live that. But I also want to encourage people that love dinosaurs to really like sink their teeth into the mythology of like getting to see an ankylosaur, getting to see a new type of pterodon, getting to see like different carnivores in different environments. And there is, now that you're this deep in this review, this is 6.5 minutes in the review, I will give a context, kind of, not spoiler, but there is a scene from the Michael Crichton Jurassic Park that didn't get into the first 3 films, and they use that scene in this film. There's an actual like OG canon Jurassic Park scene that I think is so cool that makes it into this film, and it is one of the best scenes in Jurassic Park. It is one of the best, I think, of the franchise in all 7 of giving you that fear, that excitement, that love of dinosaurs, and the dinosaur they use in particular is a beloved favorite of mine. So getting to see that scene that I've dreamed of all these years later and getting to see it all fleshed out was really special with today's technology. So those are the positives. Negatives, as I said, some of the relationships are a little heavy-handed. I think some of the saccharine sweet moments play a little saccharine sweet and not quite as authentic. I think there are relationships that feel like a studio gave a note and then an audience gave a note, and then those things kind of conflict. And most of all, I think there are beats that don't quite work in an emotional way that they then try to double down on, and it's like, let that thing go. But overall, we're talking like nice B+ here. This is 3.5 to 4 stars for me. This is probably not gonna make my top 10 of the year, but is likely to make my top 20 of the year. And Jurassic World has never made my top 20 of the year. This might be the first Jurassic World that I revere in any sort of way akin to the park. So the bar for World in quality is fairly low. This supersedes that while being an absolute blast. So I recommend this in theaters, and that feels really good to say. I didn't watch a lot of these trailers. Of the trailers, this was the least anticipated I was. I was going into this default excited because Jurassic, not trailer excited, and this did the thing, and I actually enjoyed it more than I expected. So please, let me know in the comments below if you are planning on seeing it, if you liked it as much as I ended up liking it, and please subscribe to my page. When we hit 50K, gonna do a 50 comment giveaway. Also, press like, press buttons, go see Jurassic Park, relive your childhood, enjoy some dinosaurs. It's so exciting. Let that music send you into the charm it sends me. All right, I appreciate each and every one of you. Go do something awesome. Bye.